Hello, and welcome to Kenmure Country Club. This video is brought to you by the Golf Maintenance Department. Every spring and fall when the golf greens are in beautiful condition and rolling true, it becomes time to perform the most dreaded maintenance operation in all of golf. Core cultivation, more commonly known as aerification. A most dreaded subject, and a time of year where the golf pro takes a leave of absence, and the greenskeeper stays far away from the inquisitive member. This machine is the Toro Pro Core 648. It is used to punch holes and remove cores from the greens. It is preferable that the soil not be too wet or too dry during this procedure. If it is very wet, we cannot do the procedure at all. Most of the time we have to accept what the current conditions are. The tines used on this machine have an outside diameter of 5/8 inches. The actual size of the hole is closer to 1/2 inch. We use this size every year. We would prefer the forecast show many days that will be sunny, dry, and with some mild wind. It is also preferred that the top dressing sand is nicer dry both when it is delivered and at the time of use. Ideal conditions like this will occur from time to time, but we always plan for the worst. Here we have an aerial view of holes being punched on number 6. The greens have only just started to wake up from their long winter hibernation. Opening holes in the surface of the green will allow air to enter the root zone, relieve the compaction of winter play, and also help remove some of the decaying organic layer, known as thatch. If the thatch is not managed properly, it can lead to a myriad of problems in the future, contributing heavily to disease and soft spongy greens. The core harvester is a great time-saving piece of equipment. This machine will follow the aerifier and clean up all the plugs off the green. This part of the process usually involves 2 men on the harvester and 2 more men to hand clean the edges that are too close to bunkers or other obstructions. This is finally followed by 1 or 2 men with backpack blowers to blow off any remaining debris. After the cores have been removed from the green, they are stockpiled for later use. We use these plugs to fill in holes, low depressions, and bare spots. If the plugs are old and watered, they will soon produce a fine stand of grass. The use of the core harvester saves much time and manual labor. The older method involved manually pushing all the plugs to the edge of the green, and then shoveling them all up. We hope this method stays part of history. Here is aerial footage of the core harvester in action. These cores will be hauled to number 15 to help re-establish the grass that was removed during winter tea renovation projects. Having a second man on the machine reduces downtime and helps maximize the amount of cores we take away on each load. Top dressing sand that was ordered and stockpiled weeks before is now loaded onto the top dresser machine and taken out to the cleaned off green. The sand is then applied uniformly to the surface of the green. Once the green is completely covered with sand, it is left to dry. Hopefully it will be a nice sunny and breezy day. This will allow us to get to the next step quicker. This year we used a different top dresser than we normally use. It is a broadcast type spreader that we borrowed from a nearby golf club. This broadcast type top dresser is not well suited for heavy applications of sand, but we made the best of it. Our old top dresser was finally retired after many years of wonderful service. We will be purchasing a new top dresser before we start the fall aerification. This top dressing operation requires around 60 tons of sand. The sand is stored at the maintenance facility. Much of the time top dressing is spent in transport between the holes. There is some spillage around curves and speed bumps, as we try to carry the maximum amount of sand possible on each trip. Here you see an aerial view of the broadcast spreader in action. If you look closely you can see that the distribution of sand is heavier on the outer edges of the spread. We were able to achieve our goals with this equipment, but we will be purchasing a drop-type spreader in the fall. This broadcast-type spreader is well suited for lighter and more frequent applications of sand. Here we can have a look at our old top dresser. You can see how the drop action helps provide a more uniform coverage when trying to apply the sand at heavier rates. This old top dresser was in service since 1999. We will be purchasing a model very similar to what you see here, but it will have a slightly larger capacity. Once the sand is dry enough, it is then worked into the holes and the surface of the green. This is achieved using a cocoa fiber mat pulled behind a utility cart. If the sand becomes too moist it will start sticking to the drag mat. If this happens then the process must stop here until conditions improve. The drag mat is pulled back and forth in varying directions to help pull the sand into the aerification holes. The drier the sand, the easier it is to broom into the holes. It typically takes around 20 to 30 minutes to work most of the sand. Once this process is complete, is then followed up with some hand brooming and some blowing to remove any excess sand. A new hole location is then cut into the green and it will be open for play the following morning. If weather cooperates with us then we can complete this job on Monday and Tuesday, reopening for play on Wednesday morning.